Welcome to the Bay. Sometimes NVIDIA's product lineup can be a real head-scratcher, and today we're tackling a big one. The RTX 4080 versus its own refresh, the RTX 4080 Super. They sound almost identical, but their launch prices? Totally different worlds. So let's get to the bottom of this. Okay, so let's get right into the big question. But we've got to flip the script on this one. See, the Super actually launched for $200 less than the original 4080. So the real question for a PC builder looking at these cards in 2026 isn't what you gain with the Super, it's is there any reason left to even think about the original, more expensive 4080?
To figure that out, here is how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll set the stage on the sibling rivalry. Then, we'll dive into performance and the spec sheet. After that, we tackle that $200 question head-on, and finally, we'll give you the verdict on the smart play for your next build.
All right, first up, let's properly meet the two contenders in this high-end graphics card showdown. So here is the heart of the matter. On one side, you have the original RTX 4080, an absolute beast of efficiency, but man, it launched at a steep $1,200. Then its direct replacement comes along, the RTX 4080 Super, and it's positioned as the value refresh, launching at just under $1,000. Right off the bat, that price drop is the single biggest part of this story. So with a price difference like that, you'd expect some kind of performance trade-off, right? I mean, the name is Super. That's got to mean a big leap in your frame rates. But does the reality live up to the marketing? Let's check the data. Okay, so let's look at one of the most demanding games you can possibly run, Cyberpunk 2077 4K ray tracing cranked to ultra. And the difference is, what, 3 frames per second? We're talking 118 versus 121. That's a lead you might see on a spreadsheet, but you will literally never feel it in-game. And this wasn't a fluke. Not at all. This pattern holds true across the board. In another monster of a game, Alan Wake 2, it's the exact same story. 100 frames per second for the original, 103 for the Super. Again, it's such a tiny difference, it's basically a rounding error in most tests. So here's the bottom line. When you average out all the benchmarks, the RTX 4080 Super is only about 1 to 3% faster than the original. From a pure hands-on-the-keyboard gaming experience, these two cards are identical. The super leap in performance, it just isn't there. Well, that raises a pretty obvious question, right? If the performance is the same, what about the actual hardware? Let's pop the hood and see if we can spot the difference on the spec sheet. Take a look at this. It's almost a game of spot the difference, and you lose. The VRAM, identical. Power draw, same 320 watts. Memory bus width, 256-bit for both. They're even the same physical length. These cards are practically twin. And it's not just the core specs either. No matter which one you get, you're getting the exact same feature set from NVIDIA's Ada Lovelace architecture. That means DLSS 3 frame generation, the same RT and tensor cores, AV1 encoding, even the power supply recommendation is the same. There is zero feature advantage here. Okay, so they perform the same. They have the same specs and features. Let's get to the final, most important piece of the puzzle, connecting all that to the price to figure out who the real winner is. This number right here is everything. A $200 price cut at launch for the Super, that's a massive 17% reduction. For what is, let's be honest, basically the same product. That's a huge shift in the market. And if you needed a final knockout punch, this chart is it. When we break down the value as frames per dollar, how much performance you're getting for your money, the RTX 4080 Super is the undeniable champion. It's not even a close fight. You are simply getting way more gaming power for every single dollar you spend.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. Our source for this whole explainer, bestgpusforgaming.com, puts it perfectly. They said the RTX 4080 Super is the better pure value option, a 17% price cut for roughly the same performance. Sums it up, right?
So let's bring this all home and give you some clear, actionable advice. We have all the data, so which card is the actual smart play for your specific situation? Okay, first up, if you are building a new high-end PC from the ground up, this is the easiest decision you'll ever make. Go for the RTX 4080 Super. It is, without a doubt, the smarter buy. You get that amazing top-tier 4K experience, and you keep $200 in your pocket for games, or an SSD, or, food. But what if you already own an RTX 4080? My advice? Stay put. That 1 to 3% performance gain you might get from the Super is absolutely not worth the hassle or the cost of selling your card and buying a new one. Your GPU is still a monster, enjoy it. Now, there is one little exception here for all you bargain hunters out there. If you're scouring the market and you happen to find an original RTX 4080 on some kind of crazy clearance sale for less than what a 4080 Super is going for, well then and only then does it become the better deal. Always, always check that final price tag. And, of course, if you want to see even more benchmarks, get way deeper into the specs, or just check the most up-to-date pricing on these cards, the full analysis from our source is waiting for you over at bestgpusforgaming.com.
And that really brings us to our final thought. With the whole 40 series being phased out for the next big thing, the bigger question becomes, in 2026, is buying a discounted last-gen high-end card like the 4080 Super the smartest play? Or is it better to just wait and see what's coming next? Honestly, that's a tough call every builder has to make for themselves.
All right, that's it for this one. Thanks for dropping by the Bay. Until next time, keep it cool and keep building.